RUBEN AMORIM'S nightmare Manchester United reign was defined by the club blocking 7 huge transfers. United spent £256 million on new players in Amorim's 14-month stint, but the Portuguese was unhappy with their transfer business. Sign up for the Man United newsletter. Thank you. A lack of backing plagued RUBEN AMORIM'S torrid stint at Old Trafford, with 7 key targets refused credit, EPA. Amorim, 40, was sacked by United after publicly lashing out at the board over his transfer targets. Sources revealed to SunSport that Amorim's main issue was he had recommended different targets to a shortlist drafted up by Director of Football Jason Wilcox and Director of Recruitment Christopher Vivell. Amorim demanded to be referred to as the manager, rather than the head coach, in a bombshell outburst after United drew 1-1 with Leeds on Sunday. He wanted more control over decisions and was vexed with previous transfer business, which was largely overseen by Wilcox and co. Read more. Man Utd. With Andre Onana and Altay Bayindir struggling, Amorim wanted Prem-proven and Argentina World Cup winning keeper Emi Martinez last summer. Martinez, 33, was waiting for a call at Villa Park on deadline day and would have set the club back £40 million. But United's Ineos-installed leadership group decided to gamble with largely unknown keeper Sen Lamens, 23. The project keeper has been a success this season, despite having just one professional year under his belt before his £18.2 million move to Old Trafford. Most read in football. Sources also claim that Amorim wanted United to push for Villa's number 9 Ollie Watkins, before the club paid £74 million on Benjamin Sesko. Martinez was waiting for a call at Villa Park on deadline day before United signed Sen Lamens credit. Getty. Amorim preferred a move for Ollie Watkins over Benjamin Sesko credit. Getty. Casino special, best casino bonuses from £10 deposits. Head of recruitment Christopher Vivell pushed for potential in Sesko, who has scored just 2 goals in 17 Prem matches this season. Nuno Mendes was Amorim's first pick for left-wing back, but he remained at Paris Saint-Germain and United went for Patrick Dorgu at Lecce. PSG left-wing back Nuno Mendes was Amorim's first pick ahead of Patrick Dorgu, right? Credit. Getty. Amorim's frustrations also focused on being refused multiple players at his former club Sporting Lisbon. Those included Giovanni Quenda, Ousmane Diomande, Salvador Blopa and Morten Jolmand. United were understandably reluctant to go down the same route that allowed former head coach Erik ten Hag to sign several Dutch players, many of whom worked under him at Ajax. But 18-year-old wonderkid Quenda was attainable, having spent time speaking with United before eventually agreeing a £42 million deal with Chelsea, who he will officially meet up with in the summer. Quenda joined Sporting in 2019, aged just 13, with Amorim coming aboard a year later. United target Giovanni Quenda agreed to join Chelsea. United sources have stressed that interest in winger Quenda dwindled because of his similar profile to Ahmad. Jolmand was a player Amorim saw as solving one part of the midfield issues and someone he did not need to explain his tactical system to. However, United had other midfield targets in mind for the summer of 2026. Recommended stories. Amorim wanted reinforcements in the January transfer window to help bolster United's chances of securing Champions League football next season. Securing Europe is something interim coach Darren Fletcher and any potential caretaker might struggle to achieve, with United only 4 points above 14th in the table, despite sitting 5th in the standings. A Timeline of Amorim's Christmas Fallout, by Catherine Walsh. Ratcliffe's perceived, heated chat with Wilcox and CEO Omar Berrada after the 4-1 win at Molineux on December 8 largely went under the radar. The trio were pictured in an animated discussion immediately after Wolves scored their equalizing goal just after half-time. United then lost Ahmad, Brian Mabumo and Nosair Mazraoui to AFCON after the 4-4 draw with Bournemouth, and skipper Bruno Fernandes limped off in the defeat at Villa Park. Amorim then laid down his first marker by admitting he may not get the money necessary to perfect his 3-4-3 in his Christmas Eve pre-match conference ahead of the Toons visit. Speaking after the 1-0 win over Newcastle on Boxing Day, Amorim then made an interesting comment on failing to reach common ground with transfer boss Wilcox. He said, "I have one idea, Jason and board have another idea. Every decision that we make, we need to reach a common ground. That is really important. Because you don't need to make everything for the manager, because the manager can change and you need to change everything, but the manager understands the way of playing." Amorim then walked in with a face like thunder on Friday, January 2 at Carrington. It was the grouchiest this reporter has ever seen Amorim, who before that walked into pre-match conferences with a smile on his face and regular jovial quips for the room. He then uncharacteristically point-blank refused to answer a question about transfers and gave short, pointed replies to others. Amorim was asked to explain why he did not know the position around recruitment when he joined United from Sporting in November 2024. "I don't want to talk about that," he said. "I just focus on the Leeds game." Amorim then said he did not regret his comments prior to the Newcastle match before being asked again, by the same journalist, if something had changed in relation to the transfer budget. Once more, he replied, "I don't want to talk about that." Then, after a brief pause, and after the United media official sitting next to Amorim at the press conference had begun to say who would ask the next question, the Portuguese added, "But you are very smart, so." Then came the extraordinary rant at Leeds on January 4. Amorim was sacked on January 5. Comments.